All right, so what I'm doing now is I have discovered that with the truck running, I'm not getting any oil out of these oil ports here. So this oil that you see sitting here is because that's left over from when I filled the engine. I filled it through the valve cover. So that's just oil that has pooled there, but it's not actually been drawn up to the top of the head. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've already set the engine back at top dead center. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the distributor, and then I am going to use a drill and run the pump manually. So what I'm gonna try and do is take this and just clean this top off and make a bit out of it that can spin the oil pump. So we'll see if that works out or not. That's my game plan for tonight. So yeah, I have a couple other things rigged up. I did get finally got a little cooler here, put in a catch can for the radiator overflow. And yeah, I've had the truck running a couple times, which has been good. But yeah, I figured out that there's no oil up top on the top of the head, which is not so good. Also did some work here trying to clean up some of the wiring. I've got a nice little fusible link in here now that runs to our main wire. Put that all in some housing, and that runs across now. So that's, yeah, making it more usable-ish for now. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do here is go ahead and just undo top of the distributor cap here, and then I'm just gonna remove that. And I have the set on top dead center, which means the one in, ooh. Those 1, 2, and 3 should be tight, and then 4 should be loose. So that's, I think that's how we know, if I remember correctly. Don't look back at some of my older videos. But yeah, both of these should be fully extended, which means the valve's closed. And then I've got the dot there, the line. So I believe that means we're on top dead center, and we should be on the compression stroke. Because if I go all the way back around again and bring that line back, we're just gonna be in the same spot. So those two check out. So, okay. Yeah, I don't know, I was expecting the rotor to be pointing this way, but maybe that's not the case. Anyway, yeah, let's get it pulled out here. Actually, I might go ahead and just take all these off. That way I can just get this area clear of stuff while I'm working, which is much better. Yeah. Let's get over here. Oops, that didn't do anything. All right, well, whatever. Yeah, we'll disconnect the distributor, ground, and then I should be able to just wiggle and pull this right out. Yep, exactly. So it looks like there's some oil on the bottom of that. This looks all right. That's good. We'll set that aside for now. Now I have access to there so that I can attach my little bit. I wonder if this 5/8 is going to be too wide. This might be too wide. I originally wanted just a 1/2 inch. Yep, too wide. It's not going to fit down in there. Darn it. I guess I can try grinding some of that away. That's what we'll do next. All right, so I've got the grinding wheel all set up. I've got my workbench set up. I just use a little clamp and we'll hold this down. And we should both start to clean that thing up and make it a little smaller so that it fits down in a dizzy spot. All right, really worked that thing down. I don't know what kind of metal it's made out of, but that's what you get when you buy a spade bit from Wally World. Not real tough steel. All right, there's the final product. I think this should fit down in there now. Don't know if it's gonna be long enough, but I went ahead and bought a little extension piece, so. Okay, let's see if this will go in here now. Yep. All right, boom. Got purchase. Good stuff. And there's oil in there, so that's good too, I suppose. We're gonna need a little more length though, so let's get this thing opened up. All right, so I just had the drill on here and I was turning this over. Going the right way. And nothing's happened. I will say the oil pump feels very, very stiff right now. So wherever the oil is trying to go, I don't think it can. So let's see if we can figure this out. I have gotten most of these bolts are all loose and out. And basically what I want to do is just create some space between whatever this part is here and the bottom, because you can't quite see it. Maybe you can see it just kind of right there in the corner of the frame. That is the oil port. And that's what oil should be coming up out of that and into the rocker shaft. And then spilling out over top of this. And so oil's not coming out of that. So now that I've pulled this off, now that I can clearly see this, what I would do is expect to put the drill here, and then I should expect to see oil flowing out of this when I turn the drill on. Okay, I just ran the drill for a little bit, at least a minute or two, high RPM with the drill, and no oil came out of here. So, not sure what that means yet. Next thing is this bolt here. I think on the later 2Fs, all the bolts are the same, but I think on some of the earlier 2Fs, this is supposed to be a stepped bolt to allow oil to flow up through here, across this passage, and then out here. So I decided to loosen this, and if you listen, it sounds like there's oil trying to flow through there. So let me grab a rag. There's something here, and then let's get this pulled out all the way. And it looks like there's some stuff on here. This stuff actually kind of matches some of the oil that I did see earlier on the head. And I wonder if maybe a bunch of this thread stuff is clogging the oil flow. So now I think what I'll do is try and prime this again. I wish I could see down in there. Oh, I actually can see a little bit. So yeah, maybe I can see if I can get oil to flow up that. And yeah, see what's going on here. Also, just grab a flashlight quick, because I want to see if we can see if the oil port, oh yeah, right there. You can just barely see the oil port right there. Let's give this a spin with the drill and see if oil pops up out of there. Okay. No oil is coming up that. So, Life is good. All right, while I'm trying to figure out what else is going on, I just took a couple minutes here and just wanted to organize the rocker assembly and just put the labeled here back, front, and then got my corresponding bolts and everything that lines up here, and then the head bolt that I pulled here. So I did notice the head bolt is slightly stepped at the bottom, but I feel like it should be stepped up here somewhere where the actual oil is flowing across, but I don't know. Okay, so I removed the oil filter and I put this on here, and yeah, it's sucking oil out, and then if I, yep, there comes the oil. So that part's working. I just used the shop vac. Well, it's not really a shop vac, it's a Craftsman, but use the garage vac here, put it on blowout mode, put the nozzle over top of this, and there's stuff blowing out from right here. So that kind of tells me that at least there's air flowing between here and here, which is good. And I put my finger on here and I could feel the pressure back building up. I also noticed too, this stuff here is starting to look a lot like a mix of oil and this anti-seize, which is something I saw earlier when the truck was running, and it started to kind of just seep out from this area. So at some point the oil was flowing up here, or trying to at least flow up here, but it wasn't making it all the way. So okay, next thing I was going to check was the rocker assembly to see if it was installed backwards. And what I would have been looking for is this oil port right here would have been up here towards the front. But that is not the case. This is in the third position. So 1, 2, 3. And then this would have been the third post. Oh, no way. That's what was on the third post. Oh my gosh, I think I just figured this out. Let me check these other ones. Nope. 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 Okay, that means one or both of these, boom, bingo. That's the issue. Yes. All right, so got the rocker assembly reassembled. I just used a little bit of motor oil, put it on here. I just kind of checked to make sure all of these are nice and happy and that they're free floating still. And I also checked to make sure that the oil ports are all aligned in here and to seal, that way everything should be moving nicely. Still got a little bit of assembly lube left on there too, which is fine. But yeah, a little nerve-wracking to think that this whole thing wasn't getting any oil for the first 15 minutes this thing was running. But I think it's all seemed like it's in pretty good shape. There was a little bit of scarring on the rocker's arm here, but nothing too major. So yeah, and we got all of our bolts and stuff. And then next thing I'm gonna do is retorque all the head bolts. And then I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall the rocker assembly. All right, try and do this properly. Here's our tightening order. So front, so that's what I'm working on here. I'm just working my way through this whole tightening order. I just finished up bolt number 4, and we're gonna jump over to 5 and continue our way around. Yeah, a good habit I was told to get into with torque wrenches, especially the mechanical ones like this, is to not leave them set at a certain torque to back them all the way off to 0. So we'll do that before we put it away. All right, let's double check this before we put this back together. Here's our rocker assembly. This goes towards the front of the truck. This is the back of the truck. 1, 2, 3. Oil port. Okay, this is the back of the truck. That's the front of the truck. 1, 2, 3. Oil port. That's what we need to happen. You and you need to line up. Okay, something to keep in mind when you're working on this is there are notches. There are notches in the rocker shaft arm that's right there by my left thumb. That needs to line up appropriately with these studs here, here. Otherwise, the stud will not go through. It'll just sit there. It'll float on top and it won't go any further. So if you have your rocker assembly off and it's just sitting on top and you can't get it to go any further, check and make sure the notches in the rocker arm are lined up with the studs, and then it should just drop right on. Okay, I'm calling it a night. I cannot for the life of me get this to fit back on here and sit all the way flush. I had two of these originally. One of them was not fitting properly, so I used the other one, and that one fit great. And now this is the one that did fit great. Now I cannot get it back on here. I was trying to get the Dizzy in because I've got rocker assembly. It's all in, ready to go. I forgot to double check and make sure all these were lined up before I started tightening down stuff. I had one that was not lined up properly, so I ended up having to loosen everything back up, slide it up a little bit, fix it, and then put it back together. So yeah, I'm just gonna stuff a rag in there and call it a night. And then try and figure out why this isn't fitting tomorrow. All right, so last night I left off, I was having issues with this fitting. There wasn't this lip right here was slightly larger and offset than the one underneath of it, so this was not sliding all the way up on the shaft and sitting up here. It was getting stuck right here. It wasn't like that originally. It was actually all the way up in there. So just use the Dremel and grind that down, and now this fits appropriately, so now we can go ahead and drop the Dizzy in. Okay, got the Dizzy back installed now. Very happy. This is the gap between like the top of the distributor, the clamp and the O-ring and all that stuff is definitely seated in there now, which is good. And then, yeah, got all the spark plug wires reinstalled, double checked to make sure they're all going where they're supposed to go. And yeah, rocker assembly is all installed. We now have the oil port lined up here where that should be. So that's good. I think now the only thing is to give this thing a little, give this thing a crank, and I'll do that in a little bit here and see where we're at. All right, so after reassembling the rocker shaft assembly and then getting this lined up with the oil hole and having all that match, I now have oil flow all over. There's oil coming out of the tops of the rocker arms. There's oil flowing out in between all of these and dripping down. And yeah, pretty excited that all that was done. It took me a while to get that all up and running because I kept setting timing off of the top dead center mark, not the BB. And I just couldn't get it to fire up. It was backfiring through the carb, and I kept trying to recharge the timing to like make up for it, and I just couldn't get there. So yeah, I ended up just taking a second to go back, check the basics, and then found that I was using the wrong line for timing. So as soon as I did that, immediately fired right up, idled a little bit rough, then I just turned the Dizzy to get it to idle smooth. We'll actually set timing properly with a timing light and everything, but I just wanted to get one more heat cycle through the engine and with oil flow at the top end. And then I'm gonna do an oil change because this is the first oil change this motor has ever seen. So I wanna get that done. Drain the oil. I'll probably cut the filter open, just check, see what's going on inside. And then, then we'll put new fresh oil in there, new filter, and then we can go ahead and work on timing. All right. I'm gonna try and film this first oil change here. Got my catch can. This should be okay. set this back a little. Too much of a mess. Oh yeah. Nice. Yeah, a little messy. It's just splashing everywhere. Not what I was hoping. Oh, I know. If I take everything off, this should go away. There. There we go. That's better. I can't really see too much here. There's some fresh sediment. Not sediment, but metallic stuff. It's also kind of hard to tell because this was, I think a lot of this might be, or some of this at least might be from the anti-seize that was in that bolt hole. So I'm not overly alarmed, but definitely want to keep an eye on it for the next one. Kind of see a little bit of metallic in there, but anyway, we'll just let this drain. I'll let this drain and then